Hi, my name is Imo and welcome to my channel. In my opinion, here we discuss creative outlooks to endlessly inspire hope, connection, and self-love. So today I wanted to talk about something that I've been thinking about, and it's been on my mind especially as I get older. The dilemma here is for single people, including myself, this idea of having to go to places alone. So I feel like when we are kids, like growing up in my generation or when I was a kid, there isn't really a conception that develops when you're young about doing things alone or going to places alone or kind of developing your own sense of self. Like, for example, when you're in school, you often get bullied or teased if you are hanging out by yourself, or like if you're eating lunch alone, or if you're by yourself more often than not, there's often this sense of like you're a loner, you are kind of looked down upon or bullied. So it kind of teaches you when you're young this whole idea of I need to be with people, I need to be with friends, I can't be seen alone. And then I think that as we get older, there is more and more this conception of having a partner. You need to have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, someone that you go out on dates with, a life partner, so and so, right? So I think from being a kid to when you're growing up, there's this really strong sense of you need someone else in your life to almost fulfill you in a sense. This whole idea of an experience is not as valuable if you're not doing it with someone. Unless you're doing an experience or engaging in an experience with someone, then it gives it its value. So when you get older and you come to a stage of life where it does come up that you have to maybe do things alone, it gets really tricky. So why would you need to do things alone as you get older? Well, for one, it could be that maybe you lose touch with a lot of friends, or your friend group changes. Your friends go through different life stages, like maybe they get married, or they have kids, or they move away, or they're in school, or so many different factors which would make it so that your friends are not really close in your life as much as they were before. So that could be one. It could be that you never really developed a really strong group of friends, or even not even a group of friends, but maybe you never even developed like close friends. So that could be it. Maybe you don't have a life partner or a boyfriend or girlfriend or a significant other to do things with. That's another one. What are some other reasons why you might have to do things alone or embark on events or adventures or opportunities alone? So sometimes in the friend group that you do have, often interests don't really align. Like many of the time friend groups are brought together because you have similar interests, and sometimes interests change, sometimes you change or they change as a person, and so you start diverging and going into different areas, and you just don't have the same things that connect you anymore, or your schedules don't align anymore. So there's just so many reasons why as a person you would need to maybe go to things alone, or go to events alone, or do things alone. I feel like I'm in this place in my life where a lot of my interests have changed. I've grown out of certain circles, and there's different events like involving music or involving shows or plays or theater, comedy, different things that I would like to attend. And it's just really challenging to go to those types of events and activities and occasions by yourself. And quite frankly, it's not as fun to go by yourself. And so I'm in this place of wondering, should I step out and be adventurous and try to do more things by myself slowly? How do I navigate this process? How do I embark on this journey of doing things alone, or maybe finding new people to do certain things with? Do you guys have any suggestions? First of all, I would love to ask if you guys do you do things alone? Do you go to events alone? What type of events do you feel comfortable doing alone? And are there instances where you were able to find people to do certain things with? Please detail in the comments below. So there's some things that I have been able to do alone, and I do alone. For example, I go to the movies by myself. Like, I've gone to a few movies here and there by myself, and I think I'm pretty comfortable doing that and don't feel that awkward going to a movie by myself. Going to parks alone is pretty customary. I think a lot of people go to parks alone, and I think you can like bring like a book or something and like read by the water or find a bench to read at. So I think going to parks is another easy one to do alone. I think like joining classes, like joining a fitness class, attending a play, or engaging in activities where it's not necessary to really socialize, those are very easy to do alone. But I think where I have the most difficulty are activities where you would want to be with someone. Like, for example, if I want to go dancing, like go to like a club night or go dancing, you would want to do that with someone. Like, you wouldn't go into a club like completely by yourself. Or if there's like a festival that you want to go to in your city, like, you would again want to do that with someone. And I find it very challenging because it feels like unless you bite the bullet and you decide to start embarking on these adventures by yourself, you're gonna miss out on a lot of life. Unless you just decide to like, I'm just gonna go and see how it is, I feel like you're gonna miss out on a lot of your life. And I feel like life is short and it's just passing one by, and all of these experiences and opportunities are passing one by. And so what do we do? What do we do as single people who don't have like a friend group who has similar interests as us? Or maybe you have just recently moved and you need to meet new people, so you don't have the same friend group. Or maybe the friend group that you currently have or you used to have is no longer there. What do we do? What do we do in this scenario? What do we do in this situation? How do we start going to places alone, and what does that look like? So one solution that I have thought of in terms of dealing with this situation is perhaps joining clubs or meetup groups. So I think everyone has heard of Meetup. So meetup.com, where there are all kinds of different groups on there. For example, there's groups where people go hiking, People play board games, people do dancing. There's groups where you meet up over philosophy, over music, over language, over networking, sports. There are so many different meetups on there. And I think one solution here is one could join either one or several meetup groups and become someone who's a regular attendee and use that as a base to then meet different types of people. And from there, after meeting different types of people, branching out and asking these new acquaintances or friends, like if they might be interested in going to a festival or going dancing or doing these types of events that normally you would do with someone and you don't want to do them alone. I think that could be a good way. Another way, I guess, are the dating apps. I don't know if this is a very effective method, but I know on dating apps you can usually write a little bit about what you're looking for, and you can write down that you're looking for a companion or someone to just go and do different things within the city. But that can get really sticky if you meet someone who is maybe initially open to doing different things with you, but then maybe they develop a romantic interest in you, and maybe that's not what you're looking for. You just want a platonic friend. So I don't know if the apps are the best place to find people to go and do things with, although I do think it's a good option, like, to try. But I don't know if it may be the best. But I've never tried it, so it could be. I think for a lot of these things, it's really trial and error. I think you can ask maybe acquaintances or old friends on your contact list if they would be interested in going out. The answers may be no, but it is worth a try. I feel like there's a lot of like almost gauging and probing to see if people are interested in the same things as you are. But I guess if you don't ask, if you don't probe, you will never know. You won't find out. So I think it's worth a shot. It's always worth a try. Ultimately, I feel that embarking on the adventure of going out alone, putting yourself in positions where you come out of your comfort zone and you try new things, whether that's going directly to a club or a group by yourself, or even if that's going to an event alone. I feel like it's a wonderful tool for self-development. I feel like if you push yourself out of those comfort zones that you're so accustomed to and just go, I think usually, more often than not, one comes back feeling like accomplished, encouraged, excited that you can try something new, excited that you've seen a part of yourself really like develop and change and grow for the better. And I think it makes you so much more comfortable to go out and try new things. Like the more you do it, just like, I think it becomes like a skill. Like the more you practice it, the more you do it, the better at it you become. And I think it helps you not to be so bound by like this whole mentality or feeling like I have to be with someone, like I have to have a buddy, I have to have a friend with me anytime I want to try something different or new. I think it dispels that for one. And I think sometimes, yeah, you just really have to like push yourself slowly out of your comfort zone before you can fully adapt and adopt to like a new way of being or a new ethic or a new way of living your life. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's a valuable thing to try things on your own. I think it's a really important part of self-development. I know I've heard of a lot of people who travel by themselves. Like whether they join like a solo travel group or they even completely just travel solo, and they always have good things to say. They meet people on their adventures. I mean, you have to be safe, so there is that whole dynamic as well of being safe. But for those who do it and have a great experience, they talk favorably about it, and it's usually life-changing for them. So I think that's really good. I think that taking that first step and deciding to embark on this kind of adventure can be very overwhelming. It can be very daunting. It can feel very discouraging, honestly. But I think baby steps are always good, and maybe even not overthinking it, like just like kind of looking through maybe whether it's meetup or the clubs or the engagements in your city, and just looking through and deciding on one that you want to embark on, and looking at the logistics of it. Can you get there safely? Can you get home safely? If you need to put arrangements in place, like maybe someone to pick you up or whatever you need to do, just putting all of the logistics in place and just stepping out and going, and just using it as more of an adventure, of a self-discovery, and not feeling obligated to have to stay for the full event, depending on what it is, obviously, but not feeling obligated that you have to stay. Just taking those baby steps, even if you go out to an event but you stay for 30 minutes and leave, and then the next time you do a full hour, and the next time you stay for the full event. I think just taking those baby steps is good. And just, when you go out to those events, even within reason and with boundary, and especially people you trust, but if you go out to some of these events a couple times and you meet someone there that you feel like you trust, or maybe has a similar story to you or background, maybe even sharing a little bit, like, yeah, I'm new to this, like I'm new to going to things alone. Who knows if you could find a buddy out of it and maybe wind up having someone like a plus one that you go to different things with, right? I think especially when you join clubs and activities and events that you have interest in, you are more likely to meet like-minded people there that you can continue on this adventure with. So I think it's a good start. I think it's worth a shot to try a few times. But yeah, I feel like I'm gonna have to start going to places alone and embarking on that area more, and like allowing myself to come out of my comfort zone a lot more in that regard. And I don't know, maybe it will be easy, maybe there'll be some challenges along the way, but I guess it's worth a try. Feel free to comment. I would love to know, for you guys, what have you done alone? Or are you in a position like me where you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to start doing things alone because there's all these activities and adventures and events in my city that I would love to go to, and things in life is just passing me by. Are you in that position? And if you are, what are some of the things happening in your city that you feel like you're missing? And are you going to try and go to them alone? Or what steps are you going to try and take so that you don't miss out on your life? I would love to know. Please feel free to comment down below. Until next time. Bye.